And we are live. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome. Welcome to week number 60 of the virtual AP Leadership Academy. Come on in, folks. Come on in. We got a lot to talk about today. Come on in. Announce where you're coming from. Let me know if you've been with me for 60 weeks. We got Janine Wilkins coming all the way from Alaska. So I know it's early in the morning out there. Demetrius Scott's checking in. Jennifer Gates is checking in. We got Jocelyn Nelson is in the building. Let me know where you're coming from, folks. And let me know, those of you who have been with us for 60 weeks now, let me know who you are. That's big time. Ty Jones is in the building. Demetrius Scott said week 60, 60 weeks strong. Superintendent Finch said 60 weeks strong. Tiffany McIntosh is in the building. I missed what she said, though. Okay, good morning, good morning. Michael Benton is here. I see you, sir. You made it. We got John Herricks, Terry Hodge, Oat 668, Felicia Davis, Noel. Let me know if you've been riding with me for 60 weeks. Let me know as you check in. Christy Shorts is in the building. Let me see what we got here. We got Stacy Joseph, Monique Watford, Angela Jones, Stacy Wetzel, are all in the building. KB, 60 weeks strong. That's a long time, man. That's commitment. It's commitment on your part for being here this long. It's commitment on my part for preparing and being here all this long. That's a long time, but I'm just happy that I did. Let me keep going. We got Ronnie Harvey in the building. Week 60. I almost called you this morning, sir. I'll hit you up later on. Jocelyn Nelson, 60 weeks. Venice Lewis is in the building. 53 weeks, she said. That's a long time. Yolanda Carr, Priscilla, where we at here? Dunson Lee is in the building. If I missed some of you because it's going so quick, Ebony R. Davis Stevenson, 60 weeks strong. John Herrick, 60 weeks. Amanda Grip, 60 weeks. I'm so grateful. Jennifer Bortvit Mapes is in the building. Charlene Dixon's in the building. Sandra Gilliam is in the building. We got a lot of folks in the building. Verna Davidson's in the building. Do me a favor, hit that share button as you come in, folks. Hit that retweet button on Twitter as you come in. Let them know it's that time. We're in week 60, man. This thing, we started this back in May 2020. And this would have been like maybe, I don't know, maybe the 7th or 8th week now. And here we are at week 60. And folks watching, Tiffany Napoleon is in the building. Juanita Presley is in the building. Good to see you. Shronda Kai, I think it's Kai, I'm not sure though. Wise is in the building. Latanya Page Harris is in the building. She said first week. Latanya, there, I welcome aboard, and hopefully I make this so that you want to come back for your second week, right? Keep it coming, folks. Who's in the building? Kenneth Brantley's in the building. From Houston, Sherry Jones is in the building. Coach Eddie Bull. My man, Josh Tovar. Check him out. He does a podcast. Hey, Josh, I can't keep up with it. I think it's Sunday night. I'm not sure. But go to Josh Tovar's page and see what time he comes on now. My wife, Kimberly Broughton Kafele, is in the building. My man, Kobe Wilkerson is in the building. Go to his page. He does incredible things. Check out what he does. Just check him out there. I see Dr. Marcus Jackson checked in. Good morning to you, sir. I know that weather is crazy everywhere you go. It's something going on with a storm, right? Kendall Leonard's in the building. My man, Emmanuel Reddish, doing these Maya Angelou impersonations. You got to go to his page. Go to Emmanuel Reddish on YouTube. He probably said, "No, don't send all them people." You go to Emmanuel Reddish on YouTube and check him out. He does an incredible impersonation of Maya Angelou. Shar Mills is in the building. Stephen Johnson is in the building. Might be Stephen. Tanya Pugh is in the building. It's about 11 o'clock. I need to get started, y'all. Hit that share button. It's funny, I put these topics up in I know which topics are going to attract a lot of people, and I know which topics folks are going to say, this one's not relevant. I just saw my man, Sean Woodley. There he is. Sean Woodley's in the building. Good to see you, sir. So this one is one I anticipated that my numbers might be a little low, but that's all right. the show got to go on, and some of the, the heavy topics, the controversial topics, the heavy duty stuff, we still got to talk about it. Somebody said, am I on Facebook? Yeah, you couldn't be talking to me. Yeah, I'm on Facebook right now, live, right? So here we go. It is that time, 11 o'clock. So let me say to each and every one of you formally now, good morning. Greetings. Welcome to week 60. Can you believe it? Week 60 of the virtual AP Leadership Academy. And I don't know about you. I think I know, but I'm not sure, especially the new ones who haven't been exposed to this yet. So I don't know about everybody, but I know about me. And let me let you know, I just want to let you know how I feel this morning. I'm on fire. I got to let you know that, y'all. Every Saturday, I got to let you know. I'm coming here with fire. I'm coming here with energy. I'm coming here with flames. I'm coming here with enthusiasm. I'm coming here with excitement. I'm coming here with passion. Why? Because during this moment, I'm in a leadership capacity, and I'm modeling leadership for leaders who are watching, and potential leaders, prospective leaders, future leaders, and current leaders. So I can't come on here, the flame is doused and I'm low energy and I'm just kind of talking like this. Now I gotta, despite all the challenges out here, and I mean, it's a lot of them, I still have to be on fire. Woo! That's how I'm feeling, y'all. That's how I'm feeling. So I'm just hoping you feeling the same way. I'm excited about this presentation today. I'm excited about this academy. I'm excited about this work, and I'm excited about life. That matters. So let me jump into my motivational message. And by the way, the new people on here, a lot of times people, I've been on the road all week, and you find it's people, they expect me to bring this energy when I go to them auditoriums, right? And those conventions, I'm like, nah, you ain't getting that now. That's for Saturday morning. That's not for when I'm on the road. Sometimes I don't even smile on the road, depending on who's in the audience. But that, we leave that right there, right? So, but Saturday, you get every ounce of fire that I got in me on Saturday morning. So here's my motivational message. It's called Be You. Y'all ain't hear me. It's called Be You. What am I saying? I'm around a lot of people, and some of them, they don't know I'm around them because I'm observing them from afar. So in other words, they may have a social media presence, or they may be building a social media presence, and they don't know I'm lurking because I may not have liked anything. I may not have commented on anything, but I'm checking them out. They may be my colleague, and they on the come up, and they've asked me for certain advice. So I'm watching them. See, I'm not letting them know I'm watching. I'm watching. So when I do speak to you, I can say, this is what I saw, and this is the adjustment you need to make. But one of the things I might see is somebody imitating somebody else. So you saw somebody's style, right? So to keep it relevant to you all, someone who's a leader, and you say, I want to lead like this person. I want to speak like this person. I want to move like this person. I want to walk like this person. I want to be this person. And then you find out, even though it's worthy of emulation, it may not be compatible with who you are. I hope you hear me. So it looks good. It sounds good. It feels good. It's a good experience in terms of who this person is, but it may not apply to you. Like I remember, I can be transparent. I have no problem with that. Anybody that knows me as a speaker knows that. I tried to be Joe Clark. I tried that. It looked good in the movie. So I said, let me be him. And you know something? There ain't nothing about me that's like Joe Clark. So I'm trying to walk in somebody else's shoes, and it didn't work for me. I probably looked like a fool. Staff may have been behind the scenes saying, look at this dude, man. Who he trying to be, to lean on me, Joe Clark from the movie? And then I figured it out. No, don't be him. Be you. So I'm saying to you, Don't like if somebody admires me, don't be me. Don't let me turn on your YouTube or your live presentation and you sitting there looking like me, being like me, got the same jerseys I got on, and you trying to cop my style. No, find your style. Be you. My man Kobe Wilkerson is on here right now from Georgia, now South Carolina. He got a unique style about him. My man will bust out in a song in a minute and start dancing. But in addition to the dancing, then he tell the whole audience to get up and start dancing. He remember a couple years ago, he did that routine and I was the only one standing there looking at him, right? Because I ain't dancing in public, right? So that's just not what I do. So, but the thing is, that's his style and it works for him. But it doesn't mean the next person could get up there and start dancing, got the contemporary music, and then have the audience dancing with you in lockstep. It may not fly with you because it may not be consistent with your personality. So you got to look at you. You got to get your mirror and you got to be honest with who's in your mirror, and you got to be you. Be your authentic you. Don't be an imitation of somebody else. That's my point. Let me get to my word of the day real quick. My word of the day is miseducation. I want to tone it down on this part. Miseducation. Man, I got some stuff to talk about today. I hope people didn't look at my theme and say, I ain't listening to that. No, you need to hear this today. And I'm gonna launch it with this word, miseducation. Man, my favorite book, y'all know this. The Miseducation of the Negro by Dr. Carter G. Woodson. 1933. You'll never see a copy like this unless you see someone's old copy, but you can get it on Amazon. You can get it anywhere, right? But let me tell you something. That paragraph, I've quoted it before. That paragraph in that in the introduction, oh man. When you control a man's thinking, you do not have to worry about his actions. You do not have to tell him not to stand here or over yonder. He will find his quote unquote proper place and he will stay in it. You do not need to send him to the back door. He will go without being told. In fact, if there is no back door, he will cut one for his special benefit. His education makes it necessary. Man, when I read that paragraph for the first time, it blew my mind. He talking about miseducation. You're a leader. Don't allow your students to be miseducated. We're going to talk about this today. Do not allow your students to be miseducated, because miseducated children grow up to be miseducated adults. And then if they're so lucky, if they're so blessed to stumble on some truth, now they got all sorts of regret in them. They got all sorts of curiosity and frustration. Like, why was I lied to? I have posted information. No, I have shared information in my weekday workshops with staff. They will go on and purchase the books that I recommend to them. And then they will read the books, then post on Twitter that I've been lied to all my life. I've been lying to the children all my life. I've been teaching XYZ, and now Principal Kafele, you've exposed me to certain books, and I had no idea. So don't allow yourself to be miseducated. Oh yeah, y'all. I just see that everybody's favorite aunt checked in today. See, I don't even have to say now my Aunt Kathy. I can say everybody's favorite aunt has checked in, Aunt Kathy, right? Aunt Kathy's become popular on the virtual AP Leadership Academy. So my Aunt Kathy is in the building, but that's our favorite aunt, Aunt Kathy, right? I know she's sitting there like, yo, man, you better bring it down, right? So listen, let's jump into it, y'all. Announcements real quick. I'm gonna run quick, y'all, because I know y'all want to get to this topic. First Saturday's new format, we talk AP leadership. Second Saturday, we talk classroom equity. Third Saturday, today, we talk social justice education. Fourth Saturday, I bring on a guest. We're bringing on Dr. Vincent Stallings, principal at East Orange STEM Academy. Next Saturday, it's going to be dynamite. right? And then whenever there's a fifth Saturday, we do a roundtable discussion. I bring in a few folks and we kick it talking about leadership, right? Next, I want to congratulate all of you out there getting these jobs, man. And a lot of people keep writing me, Principal Kafele, I've been watching your interview videos, and man, it's like I hit it out the park. Hey, I'm proud of you. I'm glad for you. Now make sure that you take all that studying you did, and then you apply it to your leadership, and you continue to hit it out the park. Don't just hit it out the park on the interview, hit it out the park on raising them achievement levels, right? So congratulations to all of you. If there's somebody on here that just recently got hired, put it in the chat so we can congratulate you. Next, where we at here? Oh, I can't even hold it in one hand. I knew this book was going to do well, but I didn't know it was going to be blazing like this. Woo! It's so hot. I can't keep it in one hand too long. Y'all keeping it as the #1 new release on Amazon for almost 2 months now. I appreciate that. The Equity and Social Justice Education 50. This is the content I'm using for the 3rd week, and then the equity part for the 2nd week. So if you don't have it yet, yeah, get it. It's red hot. I just want you to get it before it sells out again, right? So just make sure you get yourself a copy. This is the one here. This is the best book I ever wrote, I think. I think it's the most significant book I've ever written. So get your hands on this, and then when you get your copy, take that pic on social media so you can post it on the thread, and then I can repost it and let folks know that you got it, right? So I appreciate all you guys that got it. I see you, LaShonda. So appreciate all you guys that have the book, and those of you that don't, pick up that book, right? Real quick, I got my 4th annual School Leadership Institute, July 13 and 14, 12:30 to 3:30, nominal fee. Go to my website, principalkafele.com, scroll down to the announcement section, register, and I'll see you then. July 8th, I'm the opening keynote speaker at the National Association of Elementary School Principals, NAESP. I want to see you in the building. I'm the opening keynote. It's their 100th anniversary. I want to see you there. Last announcement. The Secretary of Education, U.S. Secretary of Education invited me to be a part of the inaugural Education Equity Summit this June 22nd. I think that's Tuesday, this week, coming up. I'll be on there with Dr. Pedro Negro and others. You can register, but you got to register in advance. Go to my Facebook page, scroll down to about 2 or 3 days ago when I posted about it, and then just click the link and register. But I will repost tomorrow or later today. I want to see you in the building. This is an important discussion. I had to move some things around on my schedule because I was supposed to be speaking to a group in Cali, but I reached out to them and said, look, this is important. The White House is calling, right? U.S. Secretary of Education Miguel Cardona personally invited me to be a part of this. So I want to personally invite you all to be on June 22nd, 1 o'clock, 1 hour. We going hard on equity. That's what he wants to go hard on equity and back to school and all that kind of stuff. So June 22nd, 1 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time. Enough said. I'm ready. Hit that share button. Hit that retweet button. Let them know I'm finished with the announcements. My topic today, what is social justice education? Now, over the past 60 weeks, there have been days that I just kind of preempted what I was going to do and focused on some issues like when George Floyd was murdered, we went right there. John Lewis died, we went right there. And other issues that arose, we went right there. So here, I'm not responding to anything. It's just a coincidence that Juneteenth is today, on the 3rd Saturday when I deal with social justice. So I got some things on my mind. So I want to slow it down just a tad because I feel myself a little hyped from the on fire roar that I did. So I need to come down now, right? Because I want to talk. I want to teach, right? So what is social justice education? That's my topic. But let me just throw it at you as a question, right? And you can feel free to write your answer in the chat. You don't have to, obviously. I don't want you to feel compelled to do so, but I want you to feel at ease in doing so. And certainly I will read it because I read everything you guys write, bar none. That's how I spend the first part of my Saturday afternoon. Not today, the first part, though. I got 2 presentations to do today. right? But later tonight I will. But again, what is social justice education? Like, what does that mean? That's my question. What does that mean? And does it have a political connotation? Is it something that has no place in a classroom? Is it out of bounds in a classroom, or does it belong, or is it compatible? Right? Are the teachers in position to incorporate or infuse it into what they do on a regular basis, into their lessons, into their lesson planning, into their delivery of instruction, into their teaching? Is social justice education something that belongs in the community center or the church, or is it something that has a place or even an inherent place in the classroom? Right? So what is it? Now, obviously, I'm going to give you an answer, but I want you to kind of just ruminate over what I just said. Like, what is it? And I can go further. Is it a part of your leadership? Right? Is it a part of your practice? So here. And I guess I should mention I'm wearing the Black Yankees jersey today. You see it, right? So Negro Leagues, Black Yankees played in New York in Yankee Stadium, but they also played a portion of their tenure of being in the Negro Leagues in New Jersey, in Paterson, New Jersey. So I'm sporting the Black Yankees jersey, right? So now, and I might add, for those of you who are Negro League history buffs, Satchel Paige is typically known for playing for the Kansas City Monarchs, but he played a brief stint for the Black Yankees as well, right? So let's go. Today's Juneteenth, y'all. I got a few questions today, and I got commentary as well. Today is Juneteenth, and it couldn't have fallen on a better day, right? In terms of today, on this third Saturday, where I addressed social justice education, it couldn't have fallen on a better day. And here we are, Juneteenth, a holiday that has been celebrated since 1866. So it happened in 1865, but it became a celebration. Maybe that word, I don't want to use that word holiday yet. It became a celebration the year following, 1866, beginning in Galveston, Texas, and traveling throughout Texas. And every year, Juneteenth was acknowledged. So Juneteenth is nothing new. That's my point right now. It's not something, it's new to a lot of people. It's new to millions of people, but it ain't new. And it's certainly not new to me. Right? So here, in fact, I'm sure I mentioned Juneteenth last year. Even though it wasn't on, we didn't have this on a Saturday. I'm sure I mentioned it somewhere. You just go and look at the videos around that period and you'll see. So, but here's the thing. I want to make sure that we understand what's happening here, right? Because you guys are leaders. You can't go into schools leading and you're running away from certain topics, or you're shying away from certain topics, or you're keeping young people misinformed, uninformed, and therefore, the word of the day, miseducated. Juneteenth has a place in your curriculum. I don't care where you are. I don't care if you're in the brightest red state all the way to the brightest blue state and everything in between. Juneteenth has relevance in your school, because we're talking about the history of a people, but we're also talking about the history of a nation. So Juneteenth is a part of American history. I'm going to repeat that because somebody didn't hear me. Juneteenth is an inherent part of American history. You can't talk American history. Hear me. And this is not a political message. I don't do politics. You can't talk American history in its fullness and you gloss over Juneteenth. Then you have, because what you have done is that you have omitted a significant portion of American history. What is my evidence? Well, let's talk about it. And I'm talking leadership right now. I'm not doing a history. I'm not a historian. I'm talking AP and P, principal, and S, superintendent, and T, teacher, and AS, aspiring superintendent or assistant superintendent, and AP, aspiring principal. So whatever letters fit, I'm talking to you in your capacity. So Emancipation Proclamation, January 1, 1863. issued by the president at that time, Abraham Lincoln, over the Confederate States, which, technically speaking, he had no jurisdiction over. So, but he issued it. Civil War is already happening from 1861. Many down in the South crossed lines, came north to the Union side and fought for the Union Army, over 200,000. The tables turned in 1863, coinciding with the emancipation, as 200,000 black troops fight on the side of the North, the Union. So now fast forward, the war ends April 9th, 1865. So you got the Emancipation Proclamation, but then you got April 9, 1865. It's over officially in terms of enslavement. The war's over, the Union wins, and the Emancipation Proclamation was already issued 2 years ago in 1863. But then we find out, hear me somebody, hear me, that there's still hundreds of thousands that don't know they've been emancipated. They don't know. They have not been informed. And quite frankly, those owners don't want them informed because the free labor is a benefit to them. So a general by the name of Gordon Granger, along with 2,000 troops, go into Galveston, Texas. I know you've read it, but I'm giving you because I'm gonna tie this to your leadership. Go into Galveston, Texas, and inform the people in Galveston that you have been emancipated. I want to read to you right now what he read. He said, the people of Texas are informed that in accordance with a proclamation from the executive of the United States, all slaves, which is a word I despise, but I'm going to just read it as it is. I like to say enslaved, but all slaves are free. This involves an absolute equality of rights and the rights of property between former masters and slaves, and the connection there heretofore existing between them becomes that between employer and hired laborer. So now they're free, but the state of Texas had over 250,000 people who were still enslaved by April 9. 1865, when the war was over. And then by June 19th, because what I failed to say, when he made that announcement and read that statement, the date was June 19th, 1865. So 2.5 years after the Emancipation Proclamation, they're informed. But you got 250,000. Galveston's just a small section, small island in Texas. Now you got the 250,000 that have to be informed. So it became a celebration. So I don't get political on this. I try to stay historical. But if you want to know my views politically on the holiday, which has become a federal holiday, you go to my Facebook page and scroll to where I wrote it, and you can see how I feel about that. But I'm a longtime celebrant of Juneteenth. I want you to know that, and I will be until I can't celebrate anymore. But if you're curious about my feeling politically as it relates to the holiday, then go to my Facebook page, and it's right there for the public to see it. In fact, it went viral, right? So it's right there for the public to see. So with that said, here's my question. Question number one. What is Juneteenth, and is it discussed in your school? Now, I know most of you are not in school anymore. You know, it's June 19th. Schools are closed, but that's okay. I don't have to wait till January to discuss Dr. King, to use that as an example. I don't have to wait till February to discuss Malcolm X, who was assassinated in February. I don't have to wait till May to discuss him, as that's the month he was born. I don't have to wait till any specific dates. I don't have to wait till August to talk about the March on Washington. I don't have to wait until March to talk about Selma. I don't have to wait till September to talk about the 16th Street Baptist Church, right? I don't have to wait for certain dates to talk about anything. I can talk about anything anytime because it has relevance for the children in the school. in the classroom. And let me be very crystal clear on this statement. I just said the children. I didn't say the black children. I didn't say the brown children. I didn't say the white children. I said the children. They all deserve the right to know the full story of American history, right? So here again, I'm saying, what is Juneteenth? And is it discussed in your school, in your classrooms? Let me tweak that question though. What is Juneteenth? And what role does your leadership play to ensure that it is discussed in your classrooms? Now, some of you, I know I can read your minds right now. I mean, I got that level of telepathy, right? I can tell her. I can't. I'm trying to say the word telepathically. There you go. There we go. Telepathically, I can read some minds right now, and you're thinking about the banning of critical race theory. I know you are, and you're saying, "I hear you, Kafele, about my leadership and how my leadership plays its role in ensuring that Juneteenth is discussed." And you're thinking, but I'm in a red state, Kafele, and you see what's happening. Guess what? I'm ahead of you. I got that right here in the notes, man. You kidding me? I'm already ready for that. You know, so let me go to it. Let me go to it. It's question number 2. And some of you've been looking for Kim Wilson Daniel. I know it. In terms of the notes, you know, Kim Wilson Daniel got this big promotion and she got real busy. So I told her, you know, we so grateful of all the weeks that she kept notes. And I said, don't even feel compelled. You know, when those weeks you do feel like you want to take the notes for us, then do it. But otherwise, just be here as a participant. Just be on the call, right? Because, you know, a lot of y'all been, to use the slang, a lot of y'all been blowing up lately, you know, getting these big time positions, right? So that changes your lives. My life changed when I became a principal. It changed significantly and drastically. So I get that. So you know, so therefore you take good notes for yourself, right? Or watch the videos on YouTube. And that way you'll have the information. So with that said, let me go to number 2. Question number 2. Do I understand the implications for banning critical race theory? Yeah, I'm going to go there today. Do I understand the implications? You know, I've been reading all the articles. You know, I mean, like every time I see an article, I read it about this banning of critical race theory. But I got to be honest with you. I want you to hear me well. You might even want to put your ear to your speaker to hear this. It's troubling. Yeah, I know. But it doesn't bother me a lot like it bothers a lot of other people. And here's why. This is what I explained on another post on Facebook. When I'm talking history, like when I just talked to you about Juneteenth, like if you're one who's, because I know I have supporters, you know, there are people who support my work who may not agree with me politically. So they may be like staunch supporters of banning critical race theory, but they still tune into my broadcast, right? So here's my point with that. One could be one who supports the banning of critical race theory. But critical race theory has really nothing to do with anything that I say as it relates to history. Nothing. Let me show you what I mean. I just talked to you about Juneteenth. And I gave you a very simple synopsis of Juneteenth for the sake of discussion. But here's the thing. There's no way in the world that I or you can discuss Juneteenth in its fullest without talking about race. I want you to hear me. If someone on here is saying, I want him to give me some instructional strategies or something, you know, whatever it is today, look, I am. This is highly applicable to your leadership. So don't think that I'm on some political thing today and you'll check back in next week. No. This is part of leadership. This is the part where a lot of us get it wrong. Right? So I can't discuss Juneteenth without discussing race. But I'm not talking about race theory. I want you to hear me now. I'm talking about race facts. See, no one could come into my classroom as a teacher and accuse me of being subversive, or making students feel bad, or whatever those explanations that they have in the newspaper and on the television about why critical race theory is bad for education. Right? See, if truth hurts, then let truth hurt. But I'm only teaching history. But in teaching history, particularly teaching African-American history, you cannot teach African-American history without mentioning race, because African-American existence in America is a racial existence. There's nothing about our existence that does not have race implications to it. Nothing. You show me anything. So let's use, for example, Juneteenth. I got 4 examples I'm gonna give you. Juneteenth. We're talking about people who were enslaved because they were Black. We're talking about people who were not informed of their emancipation, who happened to be Black. We're talking about people who were enslaved by people who were not Black. We know that there's a small percentage of what's called Black masters. There's a book you could read about that, but that's a whole different kind of discussion. But in terms of the masses of those who were the enslavers, we're talking about white people. So how do we talk about freedom of people and not talk about who did the enslaving and who were the enslaved? You can't have that. It wouldn't make sense. Just to treat that as a generic conversation and say a group of people enslaved another group of people and no racial implication, you cannot do it. So I'm not talking about any racial theories. I'm talking about racial, factual information that is documented. So that's on the one hand. I don't know why somebody trying to call me. They know I'm doing this morning, right? So let me give you. I got 4 examples. Number 2, Black Wall Street. First, let's talk about the reason that the word Black is in the title. I told you this last week, but I was in a different context, or a couple of weeks ago. Booker T. Washington created what was known as the Negro Business League. It was a business, entrepreneurial business organization of Black business people to come together and share ideas, share strategies, share their thoughts, and just to be able to dialogue with one another. Well, many of those folks were from the Oklahoma area, and they were there and they created businesses and businesses and businesses. But why? Because they could not do the same in the white communities, right? Remember, you couldn't be an entrepreneur in a white part of town. In most cases, you can't get a job in a white town. All the towns are white because Blacks were recently freed. So it's not like you could now go applying for a job and someone's going to hire you because you're Black. Well, you can't not talk about that. You have to talk about that. You have to talk about the backdrop. So they created this phenomenal thing, this business district of these hundreds of businesses. So it became known as Black Wall Street as a result of Booker T. Washington calling it Negro Wall Street. But then when the incident happened on the elevator between the black young man and Black woman, which has never been verified, instead of taking it out on the Black young man who was already captured, they burned down the entire city, the entire section of the city, Greenwood. How do you not talk race there? You can't. You can't talk about that massacre in 1921, May of 1921, without talking about race. You cannot do it. We're talking social justice education this morning, folks, and we're talking about it as it relates to the leadership, right? You cannot have that discussion. It's a bogus discussion if you're not talking about the racial components of it. It's a meaningless discussion. It's not worth having. And we know that there are people that don't want children to know the truth about American history. But I'm not having it in the context of a racial theory. I don't need to talk theory when I talk about Black people in America. I never need to go into a theoretical bag. All I got to do is go to the book, the video, the people that would that know about it in terms of primary sources, and have the conversation. Right? I don't have to get into any theory. So we're talking about fact. Let me give you two more examples. Selma, as many of you know, that's one of my places, one of my favorite places to be. I can't talk about Bloody Sunday without talking about race. It's impossible. Another example, another one of my favorite places to visit, Central High School in Little Rock, Arkansas, where those 9 children had to be protected by the U.S. Army and the Arkansas National Guard, who was federalized, to be able to get into the school, escorted into the school for an entire school year and escorted from class to class. How do I have that conversation in school? And I don't talk race. What am I? There were a group of 9 students that this 9, we don't know why, but this 9, they needed federal. The president of the United States, Dwight Eisenhower, had to intervene and federalize the Arkansas National Guard and send U.S. military troops to protect them. So how am I going to teach that in class so I don't offend anybody? There were 9 students. They were like taller than everybody else, or they were 9 students. They had beards, right? You know, whatever it is. So we had to send the troops in to protect them from the other people, right? So no, they had to send the troop. These black children had to be protected from the white masses mob that was outside. That's the truth. That's not Principal Kafele going into the, like, let me pull my Black Theory book off the shelf. No, this is fact. So we can't run away from it. So if I was a teacher, hear me, somebody out there, because a lot of people write me and they're like, Principal Kafele, I can't talk about nothing. Listen, if I'm a teacher in your school, I don't care where you are. You could be in the brightest ruby red state there is. I'm teaching it because I'm teaching facts. I can back it up. Ain't nothing theoretical in anything that I'm saying. Right? Let me keep moving. So that question was, do I understand the implications for banning CRT? Right? Do I understand the implication? Yeah, go ahead. You could ban a racial theory, right? If that's what you feel you got to do. But I'm going to teach my facts. Right? Like this book here, Before the Mayflower, right? I'm going to teach my facts. I ain't worried about that. This book, half this book is documentation. It's not just the writing. The documentation is like thick. It's thicker than the books I write. So I'm not worried about that. Let's keep moving, y'all. I hope I'm not making anybody mad. Well, I mean, nah, maybe I should take that back. I mean, if I'm making someone uncomfortable, be uncomfortable, but don't leave. Right? Just sit here and be mad at me. I don't mind that. I just don't want you to be uncomfortable and then you hit the end button and you gone, because I want you to hear this, right? But if you're sitting there, man, I don't like what Kafele is saying. That. I like when he do that other stuff, but this, when he gets here, I don't like that. That's all right, but don't like it then, but don't leave, right? Sometimes you got to take that medicine even when it don't taste good, right? You got to take it anyway. What's that? I wish my wife was near. Because she could probably tell me. You know that cough syrup that they give you? It's like, they say it's like real disgusting, right? I can't remember the name of it. It's like an old school syrup. And it works, like, especially older, the grandparents, great grandparents, all that, they swear by it. I can't remember the name of it. Somebody put it in the chat. Y'all know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. That cough syrup that, like, is real disgusting, they say. But the older generation, the elders would, no, not that Robitussin stuff. This is something old school. Where come on, somebody. It's old school. Castor oil. That's what I'm talking about, right? So that stuff, right? I mean, the elders swear by it, right? That you take that. So I'm saying, for someone that may be sitting here right now, man, this stuff what he's saying, I'm just giving you some castor oil. So just take it, right? Don't run. Just take it. I want to get that cough out of you, right? So let's keep going. Number 3. What is social justice education then? And I'm tying that to the title of the presentation. So I'm saying here, that was a question that I was fielding all summer long last summer. Everybody was trying to understand. They wanted to know what books that they should read. And I started recommending different books, as I've told you many times on this broadcast, for those of you that have been with me all the time. And it was interesting that as a result of just the volume of folks that were trying to understand last summer, trying to understand the outrage around George Floyd and Breonna Taylor's murders, police murders, I'm recommending books. But then I had my own message I wanted to deliver as it related to social justice, education, and equity. So I went on and I wrote this. I had no intentions of, this was not on my radar to write this book last summer, because that's when I started last summer. But because I wanted to be a part of the conversation, so I went on and wrote the book. So I'm saying here, in writing it, I needed a definitive definition of what social justice education is, right? So I went on and I thought about, just what I know, what I've read, what I've experienced, what I've researched, and I can't, this is what I do. I come up with what I need. I don't wait for other people to create and invent and develop. If I need it, I'll be that creator. I'll be that developer, right? I'm going to be that person. There's a lot of my work I created out of my imagination anyway. Right. So I went on and created this definition. Those of you that have been with me for a while, I don't use PowerPoints on Saturday because I got clients that pay me good money and I use the PowerPoints for them. So I can't have them come on here on a Saturday, say, wait a minute, we paid you like thousands of dollars and you do this for free on Saturday. So I don't do the same kinds of messages on Saturday morning, including putting PowerPoints up. So with that, let me read to you this definition. It says social justice education is the ongoing student-centered exploration, examination, and assessment of the world upon which your students exist through their own lens. It's an interdisciplinary critical analysis of the world around them with respect to their relationship with it and how they fit in it via their own self-expression relative to issues of social justice, social injustice, and overall systemic, institutional, and individual racism, whether it be implicit or explicit. Now, that's a lot. And chances are everybody didn't process that because I read it so quick and there was so much there. I'm not plugging right now. Now I'm saying, get the book so that you have the definition. And then you've got all the explanation that goes with it because it's accompanied by 20 separate questions and commentary. Right. So get the book, get it now. If you're looking at me on the computer, pull your phone, go to Amazon or ASCD and order the book right now and get it out the way. Right. So with that said, there were 4 things that stood out in the definition. Student-centered. And here I'm saying that it's got to be about the students. It's not you imposing views and thoughts and opinions and ideas and perspectives and vantage points on anybody in a classroom, because once that happens, it's no longer student-centered. It's teacher-directed. It's teacher-driven indoctrination. So it's always about the student. So it's student-centered because the student is in this world. The student, of course, they're at all different intellectual levels. They're at all different ages in intellectual growth and development capacities and so forth. However, they do experience the world. So it's giving them a voice in your classroom. And then here's you as facilitator to drive or guide the discussion, right? Sabrina Lindsay Law said I took it from page 93 in the book. So it's in page 93, that definition, right? So again, it's student-centered, but secondly, it's through their own lens. But in order for it to be through their lens, they have to be given voice in their classroom. But it's interdisciplinary. That means it's not just a conversation on the side. It's part of the math curriculum via your lesson. It's part of the science curriculum. It's part of the social studies curriculum. It's part of the language arts curriculum, reading, writing, listening, speaking, viewing. See, it's all of that. It's not just let's talk about the issues of the day. No, I don't mean, see, here's what I'm not saying. I'm not talking about headline issues. I'm talking about everyday life. Everyday life being infused into what you do. Because as I've said before, and as I say to my audiences every day, there's no line of demarcation between the world outside and the world inside. The student is a product of the world out here, But when the student walks into the school, the student doesn't relinquish his or her world or check it at the door and then walk into the school with nothing. The student brings everything that comprises that student into the classroom. So it's not that we're getting the student ready for the real world. The classroom is the real world. So the question becomes, how do we ensure that the real world is a part of what we do in that classroom every day? See, there's no line of demarcation. There's no separation. There's no segregation. The world in that classroom is their world. The world outside of the classroom is their world. How do we marry the two so that learning in the classroom is relatable, applicable to their lives? That matters, right? So it's interdisciplinary. And then the last part that I put emphasis on was self-expression, the ability to express themselves. Now, I'm not doing this a lot of justice right now because there's so much, it's so much context that you need to get from here, right? So make sure you get your hands on that. The next question, let me say this to you. I got to go backwards for a second. No, I don't. All right, question number 31. I thought I did. This is 31 from the book, because I know I just finished question 3 on my notes, but question 31 in the book says, what do I know about social justice education? And I just wrote a few notes for me to give you some context. I concluded that the summer of 2020 was going to have classroom and school implications. That was my conclusion. And if we didn't go back virtual back last August or September, it would have been. But because we went back virtual, it took away a lot of that focus on what happened over the summer, because we were so focused on getting through a pandemic virtually in school. But it doesn't say that there aren't still implications, not just for 2020, but for every day of our in their lives. But the question is, do we have the audacity to touch it? Because again, we're not talking theory. We're talking about the lives of your children. Right. So I felt that we must therefore get serious as a national education community in terms of just how we go about infusing and incorporating social justice education into curriculum, into lesson planning, into the actual lesson, into professional development. And I feel very strongly about that. When I entered my first class as a fifth grade teacher in 1988, I walked in there as a social justice educator. I just didn't have the language to express it that way. But that's what I was, because I said, there's no way in the world that with everything that I know as it relates to history, as it relates to the community, as it relates to struggle, etc., there's no way in the world I'm going to leave that outdoors and not make that a part of what we do in class. It was while I'm talking, if I could find this real quick, one of my former students wrote me yesterday on Facebook. It had a lot of activity, so maybe some of you saw it, but I think I'm right there. I want to share what she said. The last time I saw this student with my eyes was in 2002 when she was an 8th grader. Here it is. And she wrote me yesterday. She's one of my Facebook friends. And she said, I want to read this to you in the context of where I am now. She said, myself and another student were on the phone talking about Juneteenth and how we learned about it early on, though we spent years celebrating the 4th of July. She went on to say, we learned about that. We learned about so many things that weren't in the history books because we had a Black principal, this is her wording now, that wasn't afraid to teach us. Let me say that again. Because we had a Black principal that wasn't afraid to teach us. And I'm not a classroom teacher at that juncture in my life. I'm a principal, but I'm still going to teach. Remember last week's lesson, or a few weeks ago, although you're an administrator, you're still a teacher. Well, I'm still going to teach. It's just that my platform looks different. It's not a classroom. It's the hallways. It's the cafeteria. It's the stage in the auditorium. It's the half court in the gym. Yeah, half court. Bleachers full. And I'm at half court with a mic teaching about issues of social justice. So she ended it by saying, "You're a big reason why I look at a lot of people sideways when it comes to history." Huh. I told her, "You bless me." And then some of the other classmates jumped on. I said, "Man, y'all blessing me today on this pre-June, this Juneteenth Eve. You blessing me today," I told them. So, so it's a beautiful thing when the former students who are now in their 30s will come back, or some of them in the 40s can come back and say, "Principal Kafele," or my students I taught, "Mr. Kafele, you taught us this stuff back in the day when we didn't really understand. We appreciate that you had the audacity," or as she said, that you were not afraid. Because I know what she means, and you know what she means. That you were not afraid to teach us our story, to teach us who we are historically. I'm gonna say it again. That's not critical race theory. So get that out your head. That's the teaching. Watch this. That's the teaching of American history. Notice I didn't say African American history. I'm going to say it again, though. That is not critical race theory. So whatever this is they're banning, that's not what we do. We teach historical fact that has been omitted, that has been marginalized, that has been distorted, that has been trivialized, that has been caricatured. We're not in a thing like hand me a bag right quick, Kim. We not in like some bag, right? Just any kind. See, I always want to do these like object lessons, right? But I don't think of half the stuff I say to y'all until I get to it, right? This ain't in my notes. Like this thank you, Kim. This my CRT bag, my critical race theory bag, right? I ain't going in here looking for nothing. I ain't looking for no theory. I'm not teaching theory. So stop harping on that. I see people on the site, "Oh man, how am I going to be able to teach the truth?" Because you're not teaching theory. You teaching facts, documented facts. That's critical race facts. But let me say it better. I wish I had me an American history, but I ain't going to ask my wife to go to the basement to get that, right? She said, no. Listen, when you tell the story of the African American, when you tell the story of the Latinx community, people of color in this country, of the largest numbers, you're telling American history. And that's the part that people miss. You're telling American history. It just so happens this is the part where African Americans played a role, significant role. But you can't find too much American history where blacks ain't in there somewhere. You can't find it. I mean, you want to talk about the construction of the White House? Black people. You want to talk about the construction of the Capitol? Black people. I mean, you want to talk about the design of Washington, D.C.? Black people. See, anything you talk about. Now, you want to talk about the layout of Chicago? Black people. I mean, listen. You can't find too much about America that doesn't have black hands in it. I mean, you ain't gonna find too much. But that's just what it is. I mean, that's not like me sitting on here on a Saturday morning making up stuff or giving you my theoretical perspective. I'm telling you history. But for whatever the reason, the black existence or the black presence was written out of the book. I see Denise LaRosa on here from Pittsburgh. That's part of her. She said she's the director of equity. That's part of what she does, to put it back. because or put it back, or write it in, I should say, not put it back, to write it in, because it's never been there, to include it. So I'm almost done, y'all. So let me keep going. I'm almost done. Question number 32 from the Equity and Social Justice Education 50 reads, what is my role as a social justice educator? What's my role? And I broke it down real quick into those same 4 component parts: student-centered, through their own lens, interdisciplinary, and self-expression. So I'm gonna be done in a minute, because I have to speak to a group for 2 hours in Texas in a little while. So I ain't trying to stay on here anyway. And then I'm gonna do a panel discussion on Juneteenth at 4 o'clock Eastern. So I'll announce it again, but for those of you, let me just say this: I'm gonna share it to my Facebook page. It'll be on live. So I'm gonna do a panel discussion with 3 other panelists on Juneteenth at 4 o'clock Eastern time today, right? So come on my Facebook page. I'll share it over and tune in. The first part will be dealing with a discussion on George Floyd, and then they'll transition to us. So I think the first 15 minutes will be that. So let me finish up. So what is my role as a social justice educator? First, under student-centered, I got this question. We can call this question number 4. Within my leadership capacity, how does my coaching of teachers translate into a student-centered learning environment in the context of social justice education? So let me read it again. Within my leadership capacity, how does my coaching of teachers translate into a student-centered learning environment within the context of social justice education? That question is not meant for me to give you commentary. That question is meant for you to just reflect, to put your mirror up and reflect on your practice as a leader. If you're an aspiring leader, then to reflect on who you will be. And again, I see a lot of y'all writing. I'm gonna read all of this when I finish up. I don't speak until 1:30, so I got a little time to read before I do, right? Question number 5, the topic through their own lens. So I'm calling, this is under the category through their own lens. And here's the question. It's 7 questions altogether. And I'm on number 5. Within my leadership capacity, how does my coaching of teachers ensure that the students' points of view are respected, acknowledged, and appreciated? Let me read it again. Within my leadership capacity, how does my coaching of teachers ensure that the students' points of view are respected, acknowledged, and appreciated within the confines of social justice education? I'll add that piece to it. That's just for your reflection. I don't need to add commentary to that. Number 6, under the category of interdisciplinary. Within my leadership capacity, how does my coaching of teachers accentuate the interrelatedness of the content areas? Again, within the parameters of social justice education. Let me read it again. Within my leadership capacity, how does my coaching of teachers accentuate the interrelatedness of the content areas within the parameters of social justice education? So again, I'm talking about that interdisciplinary approach. How does your leadership drive that? How does your leadership impact that? How does your leadership affect that? How does your leadership influence it? That learning is interdisciplinary so that we can take any subject area, and I'm giving this to you within the confines of social justice education. So now we're talking about an issue in social studies, which is a natural place for the social justice education, the historical, the cultural. That's a natural place for it to be. But how do we take that and make it applicable in language arts, reading, writing, listening, speaking, and viewing? And the answer is pretty obvious. And then how do we take that and infuse it into the math relative to numbers and percentages and so forth? And then how do we take that same lesson and infuse it into science, right? The various principles of science, or the various sciences. How do we make it applicable across the board, or in PE and health, or in CTE, or whatever the subject areas may be? That's solid leadership. when you can create these themes, when you can create these units, and youngsters are not learning their subject areas in vacuums. So for example, if we're talking about, since we're in this whole social justice education, we're talking about American history, we're talking about Juneteenth today. Juneteenth has social studies implications. I'm getting ready to close too. Juneteenth has social studies implications. Juneteenth has language arts implications, obviously. Juneteenth has mathematical implications. Juneteenth has scientific implications. So if I want to make sure that youngsters are learning Juneteenth in its fullness, giving fuller context, I'm not going to confine it to a history lesson. Now we're going to have the language arts teacher turn it into a lesson where we're reading about it, we're writing about it, we're speaking about it, we're listening, and we're viewing. And the mathematics now can take percentages and numbers and time and numbers of years, numbers of people, etc. Percentages of people. I mean, there's so much I can do with the numbers. But then science, man, we could talk about health of the people who were enslaved and the implications for that 2.5 more years of enslavement. That was not healthy living. So there's so much as it relates to science and health that can be infused into that discussion of Juneteenth, right? So as a leader, my role is to get you, if you're not thinking about it, to think about it, to stretch your thinking, to say, oh, I was thinking about it in the social studies class. No. You could think about it in the foreign language class. You could think about it in the CTE class, right? You could think about it in the whatever. I mean, you could think about it in the plumbing class, the welding class, in terms of, okay, what kind of work can they do once they were emancipated? There's a whole lot there. I mean, I spent another hour just on that one point, but I won't, because then I'll be looking at zero numbers, right? Because that'll be taking up your whole day. So number 7, real quick, coming under the category of self-expression. Within my leadership capacity, how does my coaching of teachers encourage student self-expression? Just think about that youngster that doesn't want to speak up. That youngster that knows a lot, thinks a lot, but doesn't want to share. Doesn't feel that he has a voice. Doesn't feel that she has a voice. Doesn't feel that I have a platform. Doesn't feel that I have a voice that people want to hear. How does your leadership transform that? How does your leadership shift that thinking? How does your leadership adjust that, change that? That's what the question is asking. Look, y'all, I'm done. My parting question is, I just want to leave it at Juneteenth. My parting question is, what will you know about Juneteenth that you don't know? I'm talking about you. I'm not even talking about your school. What will you know about Juneteenth by the end of today that you didn't know when you woke up this morning? That's my parting question. What will you know about Juneteenth today that you didn't know when you woke up this morning, right? Again, go to my website, principalkafele.com, and register for my School Leadership Institute on July 13 and 14, 12:30 to 3:30 Eastern Time. Join me in Chicago, July 8th at the National Association of Elementary School Principals Conference 100th anniversary. It's on site, not virtual. I am the opening keynote speaker. So join me in Chicago. Join me online. I'll be a panelist with the U.S. Secretary of Education, Dr. Miguel Cardona, on the 22nd at 1 o'clock. You have to register for that, but it's virtual. Scroll my Facebook page. I posted it about 2 or 3 days ago, but I'll put a new post up later today or tomorrow. I'd love for you to be in the building. We're going to be talking equity. This is the inaugural equity conference, his first, and he saw fit to invite your brother from Jersey City, New Jersey, to be on that inaugural panel. What a blessing. What an honor. My book, my newest book, The Equity and Social Justice Education 50. Get your hands on it if you don't have it. If you do, I salute you. I thank you. I'm grateful that you have it. Make sure you post them pics, as a lot have been doing, just like you can see me right now. Post that pic, right? So that I can share it with others. And then make sure that you like and follow my virtual AP Leadership Academy Facebook page. And make sure you subscribe to my virtual AP Leadership Academy YouTube channel. Remember, all 60 videos, including today's, are on the channel. So if you've missed any of the 60 weeks, just go to the YouTube channel and binge watch them. There's a whole lot there, including the interview videos for the principalship. They're all there. The interview videos for AP position and interview videos for the principalship. Lastly, the mask, your COVID protocols, your health, and your diet. Take care of yourself, y'all. Take care of yourself. I could tell y'all some things about my last 2 weeks, but I won't. But I've had some real experiences. I've had experiences that are worthy of writing a chapter in a book for. But I will leave that alone right now, and we'll see later on. But just wear your stuff. Don't worry if you stand out. Don't worry if you're the only one in the crowd wearing the mask. It's all right. You're wearing it because you're trying to preserve your life. There's a new strain out here called Delta. You know that. It's the dominant strain in England right now. Not the original COVID-19. The Delta strain is the dominant strain. So it's got more potency than the parent strain. It's in America, and it's multiplying by the day. So don't go out here thinking we're post-pandemic now. Just like when Obama once he was elected, we're in post-racial society. They were saying no we ain't. It got worse, right? It got worse. So we're not in post-pandemic times here. I'm gonna end on this note. We are in the midst of a global pandemic. Let me say that again. If nobody else is willing to say it, we are not post-pandemic. We are in the midst of a global pandemic in the second year. So y'all know I'm on the road speaking again. I'm gonna say it right now because there's some people that saw me out there and they thought, they thinking one way and I'm thinking another way. Look, this is all this is all love. I'm saying this is all love, but I'm gonna say it. If you happy to see me, you support my work, you like what I do, you read my books. All right, cool. I'm happy too. I'm elated. But don't get all up in my space and with no mask on like people did. I had people trying to they practically right on me, right? Like don't do that. Don't do that. Like just keep your 6 feet distance, right? until we put the mask on. Right, we take the mask off for the picture. I don't mind that, but don't be all up in my face trying to have a conversation with me because politically you feel it's all right to do. Because I ain't going with the politics. I'm going with the health. I'm going with the science, I should say. So you going with the politics and you feel it's cool. You up in my face, but I'm going with the science. So it's not cool. So yeah, I'm gonna be in your city. Whomever needs to hear this. I'm gonna be there. And when I get the invite, I'm gonna be there. But if I don't have my mask on, that's not giving you the green light. Oh, I could get up in his face now and hug him, and all that kind of stuff. No. I took the mask off so I can do my speech. I took the mask off so I could take a picture with you. But now you want to dialogue with me? Yo, throw this back on. That's all right. Throw it back on. Even though your face is covered, I still hear you. I still hear you. My glasses might get fogged, but I still see you, and my ears work, so I hear you. So don't use that because I'm not going to do the speech with the mask on. But don't use that as the green light. Well, now I could get up in his face and talk close. No, respect me, because I had people trying to disrespect me for the past couple of weeks. That's why I'm saying that, right? So respect me, right? And if I'm the only one wearing a mask, because I had this happen too. If I'm the only one wearing the mask. Don't get up on the stage and you're gonna make jokes, because I had to endure that too. Don't get up on the stage and you're gonna make some little slick joke, right? And because I'm sitting in there with a mask and nobody else in the room got on a mask. Don't get up there making no slick jokes, man. I came in here to give you some information to make your schools better, but don't make me feel small, because now you tick me off, and now I can't give you my fire the way I want to give it to you because I'm heated and want to get back on the plane and get up out of there, right? So I'm just letting you know some of what my world is, right? Because I walk in there with the mask and people want to make jokes. No, don't make no jokes. I'm trying to live. I had COVID. COVID's not a laughing matter for me. It's serious for me. My wife had it, and people have died that we know. So don't get up on no stage and make some slick little jokes and think that I'm going to be good with that. And then I'm going to bring what you paid me. You're going to pay me all this money and I'm on your stage mad with an attitude. You ain't getting your money's worth, because I'm ticked off now. So you paid me X, but I gave you Y. right? You ain't get the full X because you ain't get me because I was up there with an attitude. So just keep that in mind. Let me get off this soapbox, y'all. I'm just letting you know that this is where we gotta be, right? This is just your brother from Jersey City, New Jersey, reminding you that this is just where we have to be because we are not post-pandemic. We are in the midst of a global pandemic. With that said, have a great week. Have an extraordinary week. Have your best week yet. Peace. Peace. Thumbs up. Now, cock your fists back and count to 3 with me. 1, 2, 3. Bam! I see you next week. I'm going to have Dr. Vincent Stallings as my guest speaker. We're going to talk. We're going to dialogue. He used to be my VP. He's my boy. He's my dog. And we've been friends since I was 17. I'm 60 now. I'm looking forward to having my man on the screen with me. Be here, 10:55 Eastern time. We're going to talk assistant principal leadership. See you then.